Okay, very good morning. Hi, everyone. Uh,
Good morning, doctor.
nice to see you all. So I hope that I did not make any complication. Okay, so far we have done about, maybe shall we wait for a few minutes? Okay. Okay, so we can start right now. Okay, very good morning once again. So far we have done 9 links, I think. Yeah, nine to power link from dependent origination. So again, we go back a little bit about our last classes. So dependent origination is a journey. So it is a journey from the birth to the death. So we can see the process of our life, and mostly about the level of our mind. How can we understand the mind, as we also can describe that the aim of to study dependent origination, to understand the mind, or total understanding the mind, a clear sense of the mind. So we have done so far from the started from ignorance, and we end up last time the clinging. So we just go back a little bit about craving and clinging. So this number 8 and number 9, these two links are really playing the very important role in the whole process. So craving, uh, we can translate it as from tanha, is a desire, and clinging is upadhana. Mostly we can also translate as attachment. So throughout our study, if anybody have any kind of inquiry or reflection, please, it will be wonderful that I can hear from you people. Then we can move forward.
Yeah,
So
I
let
think
me.
for me the concentration part of and the intention, so that uh, the importance of concentration and then intention, there seems to be a strong relation.
Yeah. It's everything is, as we mentioned, that everything is interrelated here, and yeah, intention is the karma. It is
Mm-hmm.
the action. So yeah, it's all related to each other. If you go back to a little bit, very in depth, it's all you can see the very clearly that nothing is isolated. So all we can see the all entire process here. And uh, and, and based on our how can we practice our life. So the Buddhist concept of the morality or sila, or bodhisattva way of life, it is a guidelines, guideline, and also bring us onto a certain discipline, so that will help us how can we move forward with the life. So yeah, we can see very clearly, I mean, when you look back step by step. So I like to add a little bit about the one things before we go to with meditation about, or vipassana. So vipassana is like insight meditation. So vipassana, it's original Pali word, and Sanskrit vipassana. But anyway, the term is mean like seeing inside clearly. So insight, understanding. So seeing inside. So seeing here is not visual, it's like more observance. So seeing the reality with a clear sense, like when you go back in the dependent origination, way back to our each of the start from each of the link, and we look at the forwarding orders, start from ignorance and mentality, materiality, consciousness, six sense doors, contact. So six sense doors, all of the senses, we can see that how it is related, eye and seeing, and we can understand how the mind is operating our seeing. So the term is vipassana, or insight observation, is right here, right now. So it's we can see the very clearly, the all the process when you calm down and look at back. I mean, Buddhist way, when Buddhists are introduced about meditation, the meditation process is it refers to, it starts from samatha, or insight, a tranquility, meditation of tranquility, and go to the insight meditation. So traditional way, the guru or teacher, they encourage student to start with the calm down. First, one need to be calm down and develop the concentration and one pointedness. Then look back to the vipassana, or insight observation. So there's so many sections, like contemplation of the body, contemplation of mind, contemplation of phenomena, or contemplation of the feeling. So it's called the four foundation of mindfulness. So by through the insight observation, we really can see this process. That is another way to understand and to clarify each of the link, that the historical Buddha was introduced us. Actually, as we mentioned before, he formulated this idea within the 12 links, but it can be more or it could be less. But this standard form of dependent origination described as 12-fold links, So now we back to our regular session. So let me, I would, yeah. So last time we stopped until the clinging. So now we move to the number 10. It is about becoming, or bhava. So the thesis is, with the origination of clinging, becoming arises. So what is becoming here? So becoming, it sometimes it also explained as a birth, but it is the peak. I mean, it is the condition pre-birth, that leads to the birth. So becoming, we also can translate as worldly existence, or nature of being. How the, and but it is related to, I mean, it from the forwarding order, it is related to clinging, and consequently it leads to birth. So I mean, as we again, I remind you that dependent origination has two orders. One is the forwarding orders, which is explain about the origin of suffering, and another one is the reversing order, that is that anti-clockwise, that describe about the cessation of suffering. So back to the becoming. So becoming, it refers to the condition which leads to birth. And according to the Pali scriptures and Sanskrit scripture too, we came to know about the threefold types of becoming or existence. Number one is sense sphere existence, form sphere existence, and formless spheres existence. So sense sphere existence, that is related to the kama bhava, like sensual pleasure, and also that it is, you can look at back with the, like our six sense doors. So if you have a look, if you reflect our six sense doors, you can, you can see how the sense sphere existence appear. And in the same way, like form is like a rupa, like material. What is a visual? Like in my hand, my pen is a rupa, is a form. So by seeing something, some rupa, or by touching this pen, also form sphere existence, it can be feel about that. And another one is that formless sphere existence. Sometimes it explained as a mental, like formless, invisible. So it can be like an imagination. To imagine something that, so we can see this, its existence. So Buddhist scripture also mention, and more deeply, like becoming such as like a kama bhava. So kama bhava, there's a two term, kama. Kama means a sensual pleasure, a sensual object. Kama bhava is a karma or karma, like our action. So in this term, let me read that some it is from the canonical text, Pali canonical text. It mentions Samyutta Nikaya. It says the realm of action or actions which conditioned rebirth. So it can be meritorious action or unwholesome action or imperturbable actions, neither meritorious nor demeritorious action. So it's a bit sometimes it is a bit complicated to explain, but mostly that Abhidharma literature, they are this literature, they talk a lot about this section. I just let you to know that another way of becoming explained as upapati bhava. That means the realm of rebirth. It is from ultimate ultimate aspect. Just giving this definition. The realm of rebirth is the sense of realm, the realm of form, a formless realm, or the realm of perception, or the realm of non-perception, or the realm of neither perception nor perception. It's more about mentally, subconsciousness. You can say you can see this, this section. So I mean, it's all about the pre-existence condition about birth. But we are coming to birth later, next section. But becoming, just let you to know, you can explain as I mean, for me, my favorite translation is that worldly existence. It makes some more sense, our nature of being. So it is more related to the sensual characteristics of our bodily organs, or as we know that our it is just a state of you also can explain like one of the mental state somehow, but it's related to the it is matured by clinging and craving. So craving and clinging, it's project for becoming. But sometimes some of the you also can be see that sometimes people some scholar they translate becoming as also birth or rebirth too. They explain in that way. But in this perspective from dependent origination, you can we can see that becoming as the nature of being or worldly existence. That make more sense because we are leading to now the next section about birth. So this formula said, with the origination of the becoming, birth appears or arises. So birth is the we know that human born, we came from the mother's womb, and We came from embryo. So slowly, we became, as a human being, we have to stay in the mother's womb for 9 months, and slowly we became born. So we came from the embryo. So Buddhist scripture, it also, it doesn't deny, it also accept this idea. But in this term of dependent origination, birth, it is the manifestation of the khandha, or 5 aggregates. So 5 aggregates are, as you know, that form, feeling, perceptions, and I wrote down here: form, feeling, perception, mental formation, and consciousness.
Sandra, before you go forward, I'm actually not quite understanding the becoming. So, in terms of, you said becoming is closely related to cleaning and craving. I'm not getting a very clear understanding of becoming. Can you go back to?
Sure,
Can you
sure.
go back to the?
Sure, sure. Well, actually, it is complicated. That I mentioned to you, but I just like to make the clear, like a bit, like briefly. This idea is becoming is a pre-existence moment of birth, pre-state of someone's birth state. And actually, if you see the formula, if you see the 12 diagrams of dependent origination, it start with the ignorance. From ignorance, like ignorance, we understand that ignorance means not understand the reality. Or from Buddhist ultimate aspect, ignorance means not understand the Four Noble Truths. And from ignorance, mental formation, habitual tendencies, or sankhara arise. Then the number 3 step is consciousness. It's a mind, a mental, sometimes we can say that mental factors. So from consciousness, mentality and materiality, nama, rupa, mechanism, subject and object, your mind and your all the 5 faculties. And from mentality and materiality, 6 sense doors. So 6 sense doors, as you know, eye, ear, nose, tongue, body, and mind. And from 6 sense doors, and we discussed before, feeling arise. We have a feeling like happy feeling, sad feeling, neither happy, neither sad. This feeling arise. And from feeling, we start judgment. Our craving, desire is arise. And after desire, we see our latent desire, like clingings, attachment. So it's always, attachment is more stronger. It's very stronger part, but it's based on our desire that you can see more attached. As we give some example last time, like every day, if I like I'm craving for French fry, so I'm eating French fry every day. So I attach to French fry. I like to have it. I clings to French fry. Then with the combination of the craving, clinging, it leads the being as becoming worldly existence. It is such a complicated part. It's very common that even I myself too. I just speaking from the scriptural perspective. Sometimes I came with the understandable. Sometimes I struggle too to get the point. So back to the with the combination of craving, click and clinging, the 11th formula is The 10th formula is or dependent origination is existence or becoming. So that refers to the sensual characteristics of the body. Actually, becoming is the translation, it's the original word's a bhava. It makes more sense in Pali word. But we struggle sometimes from our Western language to the Western language, some word to translate. It can explain many ways. Bhava, puna bhava. So re-becoming. So bhava also can explain as another word like a bhavo. Bhavo means it's a very like mental realization, mental like inner language, inner some philosophy, inner words. So maybe you can see that becoming as your like with the combination of the craving and clinging, it has some more like insight has it bringing more existence, worldly existence.
Is it more like with the cleaning and craving, there's
Right.
a certain type of energy inside. So there's an energy that's maybe not physical, but an energy that creates into the following step, something like that.
Something like that, right? It's like some stronger energy. So becoming is a you can also translate as a stronger energy too. So, and then with the origination of becoming, birth arises. So birth is a very interesting concept. But in this term, birth means the origination of the origination of the kanda or 5 aggregates.
Okay.
So now you can see you have the 5 aggregates. What are the 5 aggregates? So it's a form, our material, some stuff, feeling, like happy feeling, or sukha vedana, dukkha vedana, like happy feeling, sad feeling, neither happiness or not sad, neutral feeling. You can see like perception, sanya, perception. We have a perception is the it's like a sometimes it's like an illusion, as we discussed in our earlier classes. Then mental formation, like habitual tendency, and consciousness is the mind. So now that you can see the birth of our, this 5 khanda. So in another way, we can say it is the life. So life in our, as long as we alive, it is the presence of our active how to say activeness of our 5 khanda. We can see our in our daily life, form, feeling, our perception, our mental formation, our mind activeness. You can see in that way. So I mean, uh, forget about that part about the general concept. Just we come to the our psychological aspect. We are now we can see that this birth is the birth of our material form, birth of our feeling, birth of our perception or inner thinking, a birth of our mental formation, or it is birth of our consciousness or the mind, so or the thought process. So it's also related to the strongly related to 6 sense doors, as we discussed before in our earlier classes. And in another way, like this is the concept of the dependent origination. Birth is beginning with the relinking consciousness, which is endowed with features contingent on its karmic momentum and connecting to a state appreciate to it the five khanda arise in a new life continuum, comprising name and form, the six sense bases, contact and feeling. So these all are, you already know that from the earlier classes. So maybe sometime maybe it sounds like complicated, but if you can look it back slowly with all the past link and reflect it very like through our insight observation, it come to clear what does it means, But as I like to discuss, as I like to tell that birth is the arising of five aggregates. Maybe that make more sense. So just let you know that this is our birth, and this is the birth of our five aggregates. So after five aggregates maturing, and we can see that our life, then from the from our childhood, we grew up in certain way. So our five aggregates is trained up within some discipline, some rules, and some regulations as well. And then we are growing up and more grow up. Now we are getting elder, and finally we need to commit to the death. So decay and death. Slowly we are moving to the death. So that is in absence of five aggregates. I should say that extinction of five aggregates. So of course, we are talking from the from the aspect of dependent origination, but generally that, as we know, that that is in absence of our breath. That is a death. In absence of our inhaling and exhaling, our breath, that is a death. But from the perspective of dependent origination, we can explain that death is our in absence of five aggregates. So we don't have any sense. There's no sixth sense. Those our sensory faculties doesn't have can't do any respond. It cannot be move. It cannot be. It doesn't do anything when someone entering in the state of death. So another thing, like maybe you can be argument about that. Our death and rebirth. So it is a Buddhist belief that they have a rebirth process. So there is a life after death. It's very difficult to explain, but I'm just giving you the general idea from scriptural standpoint. There is some consciousness according to the scripture, according to mostly in talking in the Visuddhi Marga, the 5th century one of the text, and also Abhidharma literature. It mentioned that there's some process between the death and some rebirth. They mentioned that this one, the rebirth consciousness, but we can't see much more information about this from the mainstream discourses. But we can see a little bit from Visuddhi Marga. If you like to look at back very more, you can see this, the path of purification. Very good translation by Bhikkhu Yanamoli. And also Abhidharma Sangraha. This is translated by the compendium of Abhidharma literature, translated by Bhikkhu Bodhi. So in this text, it mentioned a little bit more about rebirth consciousness. But here we are just discuss about the death. So aging. So now we see birth, we see aging, and we see our death. So aging, it reminds our the nature of impermanence of our body. So we are grow up after we born. We have childhood, teenage, middle age. We are getting more decay and elder, and we die. So we accept the process. We accept the nature of this life. So it is related to the truth of impermanence. The truth of impermanence. We need to be. We need to be. Most of. I mean, all of us need to enter into our in the state of death. So death is certain. Life is uncertain. That's the truth. So it is the. I mean. I mean that we need to, the three characteristics remind us the truth of suffering, the truth of non-self, and the truth of impermanence. So when you reflect the truth of impermanence, you clearly see the process, and we started to accept the process. So if I don't say, for example, if I Shonjoy right now is 30s. So if I think that I'm a teenage, of course, in the mentally, maybe I can be act as a teenage boy, but but physically, I'm grow up. I need to accept my my age and getting elder. I need to accept it. So this is the truth of changing, the truth of impermanence. So that the point of that always remind us that how precious our life it is. And there is one very particular object of particular section in the Satipatthana, the four foundation of mind, the four foundation of mindfulness. They say the meditation of the death. So that very powerful practice. It reminds us. I mean, every moment is very precious. Time flies by, and every time, every single second, we are approaching to the death, and so that we need to make our time meaningful and do something. So do something for yourself, do something for others, to make it more meaningful. Make it more positive way, and do some contribution. So it's it is very healthy practice somehow, but of course most of us doesn't like to many of I mean many time it is a human nature. We don't want to accept that we are going to die, but yeah, it is a truth that that is truth. Sorry. So as we in the discourse of dependent origination, it may mention very nice way, like that a being's decreasing, passing away, breaking off, disappearance, mortality, or death, completion of time, breaking up of all aggregates. That means breaking up of all 5 aggregates and casting off the body. So that is the death. And before that, so if someone die in the perfect time, like 70 or 80s, so then they can experience about their aging and old age. But yeah, but we don't have, sometimes we don't have an idea. I mean, sometimes we don't know when the death will be come. So that's why there's in very Buddhist way in mention in Buddhist country, they use the term always, life is uncertain, death is certain. It very, that sometimes I saw in the monastery in one yeah, maybe Malaysia, yes. I saw that they make the very nice some signboard like mention that life is uncertain, that is certain. It very entering to the gate of the monastery, it mentioned in that way. It's very thoughtful, I think, is somehow. Yeah. So that's the 12 links, as you know. And 12 links, we just see this link every process from the forwarding order. So as we discussed before, like I'd like to back to our earlier slide, some of our previous slide. Yeah. So again, I remind you that we start the 12 links from ignorance and you end up with aging and death. And again, the process, the cycle is, ignorance, is the ongoing process. So this is the mentioned as the forwarding order, or Pali we said anuloma. And reversing order also, we just start from, it go to the backward. So it has start with ignorance in the same way somehow, and end up with the with also the birth, aging and death. So reversing order also mentioned about the cessation of the dukkha. So the journey of the Buddha is he has a reason that he was looking for what is the origin of the suffering and what is the cessation of suffering. So this is his objective. So I like to mention in this term another thing. In the entire teaching of 45 years of teaching of the historical Buddha, he taught only two things. Actually, he also mentioned in certain sutra. He said, I taught only two things. One is that I taught the origin of suffering, how to find out the root, and the method, the path, how to eradicate the suffering. So the two things I just taught. But if you look at every single discourses, and if you remember that what is his objective to deliver this sermon, you can say, yeah, his objective to find out the root, or sometimes you can say that to how to eradicate and extinct all this suffering. So it's all the same. Of course that from ultimate aspect, not the same. It have every single link has very deep meaning, very deep understanding, and very deep explanation. But if we look at very slowly, we calm down and through the Vipassana, like insight meditation, we can see all the link, all the constituent very clearly, part by part. And we can apply into our daily life, into our journey, into our life journey as well. So in generally, sometimes we say that like we go to for example, when you go to some physical sickness, to the medical, seek some medical support. So doctor first examine first, and he for make sure he sent you maybe some kind of test, probably such as like CT scan or something, blah blah blah. If we have to do some physical complication, so doctor prescribe you regarding regarding the nature of the sickness or illness, and doctor can't give you the medicine if he doesn't know the problem, if he doesn't know the disease. So in the same way, so dependent origination is helping to find out the problem, the root cause, and after having find out the root cause, then you can work out slowly how we can be cease this came out from this problem. So reversing order of dependent origination, it is the reflection of reflection of to eradicate the suffering or the problem, or or whatever we say, like. So we can examine this within this formula, our mental affiliation, or mental recovery. I mean, sometimes it's mental recovery, we can say, or therapy. I mean, it is like a mental therapy. Some our sometimes like our a lot of emotional factor we are dealing with, and so many things we can say. Sometimes stress. So one of my friend, he also done the one research with dependent relation, like how to stress management. So yeah, it's very nice formula actually, nice method. It's nothing with about your you know like a miracle or something. It's a scientific way. So I mean, see the each of our sense doors, each of our faculties, and watching our craving, clinging, and we can have a look. We can make our exercise that yeah, what is the root of our problem? So most of time, in generally, it says that our main root of problem is our expectation, is our craving, or is our clinging. So we expect something, we have a desire. So that create the more problem. So when you don't feel fulfilled with this expectation, we have an agreement, we have a disagreement. So then dispute, and so many then conflict start. That's the thing. So we can see that our ignorance state of the mind. So it can provide a bit clear sense. It is it's a kind of like a long-term journey. It is just we just understand, we just explain as in general way, but it is also related to our karma. So how can we can correlate it, dependent origination as a karma or karmic theory. But karma, the concept of karma also, you can be make more sense through the dependent origination. Like I like to share that one thing. Mm, let me open this file. Sorry, stop share. Yeah. Yeah. So yeah, so karma, I mean karma, as we understand that, cause and effect. So karma is also a very huge topic from Buddhist aspect, from the scriptural point of view. But generally karma, we explain cause and effect. Karma like action. So we understand that karma like karma as a wholesome karma and unwholesome karma. And karma has its resultant. So Buddhist way, it mentioned that if you do something good, good things return to you back. Or if you produce some unwholesome and bad things, unwholesome action or result came into the back. So, but in this, it's sometimes it have a very huge topic. Like some people, for example, um, they do a lot of bad things in this life, but they have a good life. So what is karma at the time? We have a question. Maybe karma doesn't work with him. It's a huge topic, but in this spec, like karma, we understand through the dependent origination. We can see that how the karmic resultant, or the process of the concept of karma is correlated with the dependent origination. So this formula, the 12 links, it is divided into the 3 periods as a time. Many scholars agree with that. Many historical like Nagarjuna, Buddhaghosa, also many modern scholars like Ajahn Piyapayuttu also. Piyapayuttu is one of the very greatest scholar from Thailand. He's very respected monk as well. So he's also agree with that, with these consequences. So karma is we can, I mean, we can divide it that 12 links into three periods of time. We can say past, present, and future. So because of now first two, like ignorance and mental formation, we can say our past karma. Then present is the present karma is consciousness, name and form, six sense basis, contact, feeling, craving, clinging, and becoming. And the future action is birth, aging, and death. So these are the we can divide it into three periods of time. So these 12 links, if you look at very very deeply, we can see that we can divide it into three actions, such as like a affliction, action, and karmic consequences. So affliction is such as like your defilements. In Sanskrit it mentioned klesha, or Pali say kilesa. And action is karma, and karmic consequences such as like a suffering or dukkha. It's a result of the karma. So excuse me. Yeah. So affliction is a it's a huge topic. It's a as just in general, just let you to know that we can understand as our defilements. So mental affiliation too. So I like to give one example. How can we understand affliction or mental? This part. Example from it is a very popular literature from in China and Tibetan scriptures. So they respected. But it basically this literature appeared from Nalanda, from Sanskrit canon. It mentioned it's called the Lankavada Sutra. So in this discourse, it is written probably, if I'm not wrong, it's written from the 5th century to the 7th century. So in this literature, it mentioned that the two things, three analysis, like ocean, wind, and waves. So mid of the ocean is like very calm, and it is tranquil. So, but when because of the wind blows, ocean creates the waves, and these waves stuck to the shore later on. So mid of the ocean is very calm and tranquil. So mid of the ocean, we can compare as 6 sense doors or 6 empirical consciousness or 6 sense doors. Like it's very calm down. There's I mean, it's a neutral mind. It's a calm down. It's an easeful state of the mind. Then wind appears. So wind is like such as like our defilements, our judgment, our attachment, or craving. So when the wind appears, then it creates waves. So the waves is the wind of discrimination. So as we can understand that how our mind became affiliated, or the affiliated states of the mind. So by this like our 6 sense doors or 6 empirical conscious, it is stuck by by craving or or clinging. Then consequently, the mind agitated, the mind afflicted, the mind polluted, the mind diluted. So that is the affliction or affiliated states of mind. So the affiliated states of mind from the throughout the dependent origination, we strongly we can see from this ignorance, because we don't have a right understanding. In absence of right understanding, and craving and our clinging, then you can see that our cause, like sankhara, mental formation, and becoming. So becoming, I just remind you, is like worldly existence, is a pre-state of birth. And then afterwards, our affliction and action leads to our karmic consequences. That is the effect. Like our consciousness, our mind, mentality, materiality, six sense doors, and we see contact. Our contact is that as we discussed before, contact means two things come together, like eye seeing and eye consciousness. So this contact, it can project to the karmic consequences, and feeling, birth, aging, and death. So I mean, the three classification of affiliation, we can see that three classification of within these 12 links we can classify it into three: affiliation, action, and karmic consequences. And these three became into true cause and effect. We can see from the from the karmic aspect. So I think it's the this is the whole the entire the mindful project, mindful understanding, and of course that everything is related, as we discussed before. And our we need to observe in the through the wise reflection. And last classes we have a lot of talk about wise reflection, yoniso manasikaro. So when you have a wise reflection, when we can see the fact, we can see the things as it is or as they are. We can go through the every single particle, every single fact. We can see one after one how it appears, and we can see the process of So it's all about the we can as in briefly we can conclude like it's all about our ignorance, our craving and clinging, and mental formation and becoming. So these five causes, the present doing right now, karmic consequences. So we are part of our our thought process, our then we have a subject and object mechanism, and our six faculties are creating a story. So it's a yeah, again it is a mindful process. So may I know that if you have any kind of question or reflection or any kind of discussion you can bring out at this point. Yeah. Hi, Samantha. Hi, how are you?
Hi, Sanjoy. That was really interesting presentation, and especially this chart where you put them into three, the cause and effect, the karmic forces. The thing that stood out for me was I kept thinking about the ignorance, the craving, and the clinging, and the mental formations. Is my ego is there?
Yeah.
And, so I was thinking, the suffering, why is it that, what is the cause of my suffering, like because if someone shouts at me, etc., but sometimes it's justified. I mean, you don't want to be a doormat, if someone's justifiably I mean, if someone shouts at you and is and you're justifiably annoyed, you need to sort of like correct the situation as well. So how to tackle that as well? You can't just, it's acceptance. You can't just, accept everything that comes to you and then be, happy and strong-minded and let it go.
Right.
All those things, it's so much to sort of like become tough, accept. And because of that, the sense of self is there, and everything is not, my fault. It's always, you project everything to the other person. It's there because of they're the problem, not me, so it's quite difficult, quite complicated, isn't it? I've got a long way to go to enlighten.
Yeah, yeah. So, did you remember the first class where I gave the quote from the Buddha, the conversation between the Buddha and Ananda. Buddha said that,
Oh yeah,
he said that Ananda said, "Oh Buddha, it is very easy to understand. And at
yes,
some point, I understand it."
yeah,
And Buddha just changed it. Well, don't say so. It's
mm,
really complicated if you don't see all the facts clearly. But
yes,
yeah, actually, it can be make sense that if we can, sometime if we can be, how to say, if we can keep some concept like the three characteristics, this idea, like ego. We are working with our ego.
yeah,
So it is a non-self. If you practice non-self,
yes,
non-self is, what is non-self? I mean, self is like a spirit, something traditional we can understand. Self, like translated as a soul.
yeah,
Soul. So
mm,
soul is some concept like another concept of soul, like Indian perspective or Western perspective too. They bring that it's like a spirit, and it is continual process. Even after die, the soul is continuing somewhere. Somewhere
mm,
is cosmos, or in the galaxy, or it can be transformed, or it changing the body. But
mm,
in the what is the self or non-self? But in the Buddhist aspect, I mean the Buddhist theory, he
mm,
did not use the term the soul. He said
no,
non-self.
mm,
There's no self. So he said no self or non-self. It means there is no I. This
yeah,
is not I. This is not mine. This is not me. Or So I mean, it makes sense somehow. Like
mm,
I myself, I'm Sean Joy right now.
mm,
I have everything in the appearance, like I have two eyes, two hands, two legs,
yeah,
and I have everything right now. But after a few years later,
yeah,
my hair getting gray,
yeah,
wriggling, my body is getting weak. It changed my body.
yes,
So I need to accept this
mm,
this the changing, the process of changing. It is impermanence.
mm,
So it's when you see this in that way, like
mm,
when we accept the truth of three characteristics, we try to understand it,
yes,
and it can make sense slowly.
mm,
Even I myself too, sometimes I very curious, when I look at back my work.
mm,
Sometimes yeah, for many years I've tried to understand dependent origination.
yeah,
So sometimes I struggle too to I
yeah,
mean I mean sometimes I said, oh my, this paper I did not clear out this point 5 years ago, the paper I wrote down. And for me right now it doesn't make sense.
yeah,
And but why it makes sense when I was writing about that I was thinking of that. So it sometimes make sometimes complicated, but in general way it is it is complicated, but somehow it's understandable,
yeah,
and it is a journey, and it is exercise that can be kept for a long time. Then we can see the fact clearly, and it can
yeah,
help us to be the less ego.
yeah,
The whole life we are struggling with our ego. Yes.
yeah,
So it can have become being humble
yeah,
and bring it back us into our moral practice. I mean, it is a very prerequisite for every single practice and exercise. The morality is the very basic. We
yeah,
Everybody need to be have this kind of how to say exercise, this kind of practice. I mean, that is the prerequisite. I mean, intellectually you can explain a lot, intellectually you can be enlightened, but
mm,
without morality, it doesn't really exactly make sense. It's not respected. I mean, even in generally, people, those people not really, not really very respected somehow. So morality, like we are very strict with our practice with the 6 perfections, or sometimes say 10 perfections, right?
Yeah.
And precepts. So
Yeah.
we are very strict. We encourage, I myself, and also traditional way from, and even also many teachers, they encourage themselves to continue the practice of precepts, abstain from, like this. I just in briefly I said, abstain from killing, abstain from stealing, abstain from misconduct, or or intoxicant, and speaking lie. So these are basic, so when you come together, all together, it can help us to see that clearly, because I know that I'm not doing wrong and I'm strict with my morality. Then you can see, we can focus, we can develop our concentration,
Yes.
and that is samatha. That is a samatha bhavana, like
Yeah.
meditation of one pointedness, meditation on the calmness, and also we can develop the concentration. So after we develop the concentration, the next step is insight investigation
Yes.
in your journey. That is the vipassana, as they say, or vipassana, vidarshana, or
Yeah.
vipassana bhavana.
That's right.
So it's all related, and through the vipassana, we
Yeah.
can look these 12 links. It is a kind of retreat. Maybe
Yeah.
I should change my course name. Maybe it's the retreat with the dependent origination. It's a kind
Yeah.
of retreat
Yeah, because I
somehow.
think you hit the nail there. I think it is a
Yeah,
bhavana aspect that you can actually understand this really, put that into the experiential practice, isn't it? To really to get into it, to get to get into grips, I suppose, with this dependent origination, which bit by bit, I suppose you can't really understand it by just reading.
exactly,
Yeah.
exactly.
Mm.
And intellectually, we can explain in many ways, many different arguments, many ways, and generally, in general, actually, another thing also, you can see, have a look, like 12 links. This 12 links, it seems very simple.
Yeah.
Start from, just formula, just start from ignorance, blah 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 blah, this and that, and finish. But
Yes.
we can go to the, and the exercise, and
Mm.
the real things are appearing, and
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah,
it's
sometimes I sort of say that the test will be like, say, personally, if something happens to, in a personal way, say, if someone gets personal to you or myself gets afflicted with a serious illness, or someone close to you, your child, or someone dies, or, someone, and then how would you react? So then you would know whether you've understood the hard way, I suppose, of learning it, but then you would understood your understanding of the Dhamma. Yeah.
yeah, right. But
Yeah.
but this is the thing, like my teacher always tell that, well, I also speaking same way with my teacher in the past. He said, you were judging too much.
Ah, ah,
Don't
yeah,
judge. Don't judge too much.
yeah, yeah,
So it
yeah,
was when I was practicing with him. So he said, you were too critic.
yes, yeah, that's true. Yeah,
Everything we start to, but yeah, we have to come with our, a certain discipline. Like, yeah,
mm,
we judge, but we have to understand the right and right judging, right? So
yes,
this term, I like this term, in Buddhist way. I mean,
mm,
Buddhist literature. I mean, when you say Buddhist teaching, the mainstream teaching, he
mm,
always used the term right, but not say understanding. He said right understanding, right mindfulness,
mm,
right concentration, samma samadhi, samma sati. So right mindfulness, right concentration, right effort. So
mm,
I mean, when he include the term right,
mm,
it means that it's have to be related to our moral practice.
mm.
It
So
is
is that
our
what means noble? Because when he says
noble.
the noble, right means the same thing as noble.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah,
exactly,
is that
exactly.
so that
Right,
makes
same thing, noble. Yeah, I can say noble. Yeah, exactly.
yeah,
Right. Yeah,
yeah. I see
it's
what you mean.
true.
What that means up to the morality and everything. Yeah, perfection.
Right.
Yeah.
So another thing I like to say that maybe by today I like to explain dependent origination actually it's the Four Noble Truths too. It is, so Four Noble. I mean, the Buddha's his journey. He find out I mean, it was his innovation. I mean, you can say that from ancient Indian philosophy, it was the Buddha's innovation. He discovered the Four Noble Truths. Maybe so. Actually, the Four Noble Truths, as we know, that is about the origin of suffering, and the suffering. Number one. Number two is the origin of suffering. Number three, the cessation of suffering, and number four, the path of cessation of the dukkha or suffering. So within this formula of dependent origination, we really can see. I like to share this slide. It can be help you to clear understanding. Excuse me. Share the screen. Okay, I got it. Sorry for my inconvenience. Okay, so this is the also that is the Four Noble Truths. So yeah, as Samantha said, that noble understanding, noble truths. So this is a noble understanding. So his journey. So the Four Noble Truths. So two things we can find. One is that origin of suffering, and another one is that the end of suffering and the path that lead to cease the dukkha. So that is the nirvana. So nirvana is a Buddhist concept, but in translation we can say that, yeah, it is the mental state, the state of the liberation or freedom. So throughout our forwarding orders, or as we say that anuloma, forwarding order of dependent origination, we find out the taproot of dukkha. And the reversing order, I mean, so we can see that how to, I mean, the end of our suffering. So that is a journey. So let me read the reversing order of dependent origination. According to the sutra, it said, with the cessation of ignorance, mental formation ceases. With the cessation of mental formation, consciousness ceases. And from consciousness, I mean, by ceasing consciousness, mentality and materiality. And then sixfold sense basis, then contact, feeling, craving, clinging, becoming, birth, aging, and death, that ceases. So he mentioned another term in the whole. Every time in the Buddha he mentioned, this is the cessation of whole mass of suffering. I really sometimes struggle to understand the whole mass of suffering. Why he mentioned the whole mass of suffering? So I found that he mentioned because it's the life process. In the life, throughout the life, we are enduring with a lot of experience. Some are pleasant and some are unpleasant. So, I mean, even the pleasant experience, it is also dukkha. This is also suffering. Why our present pleasant, I mean, happy time also suffering from ultimate aspect? Why he say in that way? So because as we know that we have, for example, like we have some happy moment, like we're listening to good music. So this moment is for maybe an hour. So again, we back to our something we are doing. Maybe we don't want to do that. So yeah, we want to get back again. When you think in very ultimate way, when you think very deeply, we can see that this happy moment is not permanent. That moment is impermanent. And when you don't want to accept the moment of, that moment, it causes us a little bit disappointment. So we like to listen the music, listen some music, maybe it's for an hour. So after we finish this time, I need to go back to my daily life, my regular life. I need to teach, I need to prepare lesson plan, I need to do this work, I need to do that work, or running errands, something, blah blah blah, this and that. So then I don't want to do that. I want to back to the music. So that is then I want to back, but I don't want to accept my reality. So it creates some suffering, some dissatisfaction. So we can see that even our pleasant moment, our happy time itself, part of the dukkha, or as we translated it from suffering or dissatisfaction or unease. There's so many translation you can translate many ways. Depends on how do you look this term. So therefore, so I think this is the reason that the Buddha said that he used the term the whole mass of suffering. In the canvas, I also share this translation as well, in maybe the second or third week, probably maybe second week, second module. So you can if you like, you can download this the entire sutra of dependent origination too. So yeah, so when you say that forwarding process, it can be delineate and refers to our suffering and the cause of suffering. And reversing process, it can be show the path. So the path is very clear. The path is talking about the Eightfold Noble Path. It's very clear. It's a very clear methodology. So Eightfold Noble Path are right view, right action, right effort, right concentration, right mindfulness. There's six, there's eight, right livelihood. I can't remember the two, but this Eightfold Noble Path is it is the methodology. These are the method for to find out the solution. Some skillful way, so yeah, we can see. I mean, maybe probably that this is the reason. So dependent origination, you can say that including, it's related. It's the Four Noble Truths. So by understanding dependent origination, one also can understand the Four Noble Truths. So again, I explained to you that dependent origination, there's a two aspect we discussed in our first class. One is the theoretical aspect, another one is the practical aspect. So theoretical aspect, it just explain about our cause and effect. And practical aspect of dependent origination, we understand through the 12-fold links. So that links start from ignorance, mentality and materiality, and end up with the birth and aging and old and death. So this is a journey. So in this journey, we can see the process, and that process leads us to realize what is the key role, what is the key point of the problem. And having identified this key part, that we can see that we can work out how to sort this problem. But of course, it's a noble journey, we should say, and noble investigation. And obviously, we need to have our wise reflection. We need to strong and strength with our moral practice and continue the vow, 6 perfections, and daily 5 precepts. And it can be help us, can be slowly. And this investigation, I like to say that it would be can be seeded by by insight practice. So without insight practice, it's not insight development. It's not really, we cannot be see this entire process. It's tough. So I mean, I directly, I mean, it's very straightforward word like Vipassana meditation. So Vipassana is not only for just for go for retreat and closing your eyes or just observation, but also it is right here, right now, at the present moment. What we are doing, we can see clearly or not. So Vipassana, this exercise can help us to see to have our clear understanding, a thorough understanding of our mind, and including our developing our concentration, developing our one-pointedness, developing our moral practice, and see the fact, see the reality, see the entire phenomenal process very clearly. So Vipassana or insight meditation, I mean this way we can look, through the Vipassana, we can exercise. So dependent origination, it can be one of the, we can say that this process can be exercised for Vipassana. When you reflect slowly each of the point, it is powerful somehow. It appears very clearly. But of course, as it's a lifetime exercise, so one need to be very calm down and develop the develop the ease or inner tranquility. It can help us to go more inside and insight into insight, or center into center. You can see more deep, more clear. So may I? So any kind of question or anything at this point?
So this special seeing clearly, that's like the view.
Yeah, that's like I mean, view is you mean the view? You use the term like special seeing,
Yes.
right?
View, I think in many of the talk that you use the word view as a not so much seeing. There's a more philosophical definition of in terms of Buddhism when you use the word view. That's what I meant by when you were talking earlier. Is that what you mean by the view?
Oh well, view in that area that we talked earlier, that view is mentioned as a wrong view. Wrong view means like some kind of the not understanding, such as like some people are attached to the vows and ritual practice. Some are have a misconception. Some are not believing in the karma. They don't practice in the karma. That's the wrong view, actually. That is the wrong view. And yeah, and yeah, but in Vipassana, it's seeing, like observing, seeing the clearly. Seeing is investigation. We can say that novel investigation somehow. Yeah. Hi, I say another some question from Lucky. Hi, Lucky. You have to unmute, I think.
Sorry.
Yeah.
Yes. Sorry about that.
It's okay.
Yeah, doctor, now in practice, do we start with the 6 senses and then say when you see something or you hear something, you don't get attached to it? And is that the way you develop your getting rid of the cravings and attachments and grasping and things like that. Is it is that the start with your senses? When you see something, hear something, you tend not to get attached to them. Is that how you develop it? Or
Thank you for this question. It is a very deep question. Well, what do I say that like this is the 12 links. It start from the ignorance. It is presentation by the Buddha after his complete his enlightenment, as you say, awakening. So it is his journey. But well, you can start it from your sixth sense basis or something. And obviously, when you look it back, you can see this clearly, where I mean, you can just start it. It is not a, it is not a, that's why I mentioned it a few times. It can be the maybe the more or it can be the less. Maybe you can see more, maybe you can less. But it still you can see that even you start from sixth sense basis, but you still can see that all the processes related, like nama rupa, like mentality maturity, subject and object mechanism. It's related. It doesn't mean that you have to follow the order, but
no.
it is the one idea, one order. It is his experience. But maybe you have to find out your own truth. That is your exercise. Maybe
Right.
it can be work in different way, but yeah, but it still you can, even you start from the sixth sense doors or sixth sense basis, you see all the fact actually when you look at it very clearly, very it is subtle and profound. Does it make sense?
Yes, thank you, Doctor. No, what I mean is to get rid of your, the get rid of your samsara cycle.
Yeah.
Do we sort of whenever we see something or hear something or we don't get attached to them? Is that the whole idea of the dependent origination? Not to have cravings and attachments, and
Right.
is that what we are trying to achieve in the end?
Exactly. So it's our aim is to go beyond the samsara.
Good.
so so then another concept, maybe next class we also discuss the last one. Actually today is supposed to be the end, but my apology that one class we missed. So next
Yeah.
class we have a last class. Next class we'll discuss about the samsara, and I plan to discuss emptiness and dependent origination in our next class. But I tell you, but for your information, that samsara, the idea of samsara, it's not go beyond the nirvana. I mean, go to nirvana. I mean, entering to the nirvana. It doesn't mean that nirvana is a realm. Nirvana is right here. Nirvana is a state of the mind. So Nagarjuna is one of the very famous philosopher, 2nd century. He mentioned that samsara is nirvana and nirvana is samsara. There's so many philosophical arguments from this concept. Why he said nirvana in the samsara? Actually, his argumentation, he clarified that, I mean, this object, like nirvana is a state of the mind, and we can get rid of this, we can go, we can break this all the links, and we have a clear taming, clear observation, clear understanding, and clear, I don't say domination, I should say that taming, then all the links, then we can really enter, we can really achieve in the state of nirvana. So yeah, this is our aim, and like freedom is ultimate freedom, and we don't have any kind of regret, no remorse, no affliction, no attachment, no detachment. So as we go beyond, this is a stable state. There's no judgment as well. Yeah.
Okay, thank you, Doctor. Thank
You're
you.
welcome. And Samantha, yeah.
Oh, yeah, sorry, if there's time.
No, it's okay.
Yeah, just quickly, Sanjoy, that's from Lucky's question. I too was thinking about that earlier on, because one thing I got confused was from ignorance, according to dependent origination, you got the next one is Sankara, and then consciousness, and then you got Nama Rupa. But then I was thinking, like, when we do the practice through Nama Rupa, because at form, the rupa, at contact, that gives rise to the 5 aggregates: Vedana, feeling, perception, Sankara comes there again, and then the Vijnana in there, going through that linear in the Nama Rupa and the feeling. So, but then in the dependent origination, that precedes the consciousness, comes before the Nama Rupa, and then before Nama Rupa, you've got the Sankara. Are they different types of Sankara? Yeah, that's a bit, that's a bit confusing. So Sankara happens twice then, and then you got, yeah, is it?
Yeah, yes. Actually, you have a deeper investigation. It seems like me like confusing, but actually, as Lucky also said, so we can start from anywhere. We can start from mental nama rupa. Actually, most of the teacher, when you go for meditation,
Yeah.
you keep the nama rupa. Start with the so look at the
Yeah.
object and observation and see that clearly. Just know that rising and falling. So
Yeah.
that is observation is a rupa.
Mm.
It is the mental rupa.
Mm.
So as we mentioned as a phenomena, phenomenal object. I think all of you has know that this text like Satipatthana, fourth foundation of mindfulness. This is this book translated by Bhikkhana Leo. So in the Satipatthana, there's a 4 methods. One is that observation of the contemplation of the mind, contemplation of the body, our physical pain or physical movement or physical, some kind of the some body changing. And number 3 is a contemplation of the feeling and contemplation, contemplation of Dhammanupassana is phenomena is mentioned, phenomena.
Yeah.
So our phenomena is a mental phenomena. So that is become a rupa somehow. Nama is our mind, who is observing subject, who is really seer, that is a seeing. So doer, and that is doing.
Yes.
So it's a perceiver, is a perceiving. So we can say, I mean, it is a language. Actually, language is another fact here. It's our inner language, just visual way. We just explain as seeing. Actually, we can't see. Like I close my eyes can't see. Like I close eyes, I have some visual. Like maybe I miss my mother. Maybe I close my eyes. I look at my mother. Yeah, what is she doing? How is she? Then I see observance, my feeling. I observe my feeling. Yeah, I was worried about it. Wow, how is she? What is she doing right now? Did she take medicine timely or not? And sometimes maybe I give you a phone call. He said, wow, what are you doing? I'm just thinking about you. So it's just, we see that our nama rupa mechanism, subject and object, our mind. And, so I close, but I close my eyes. I can't see, with my, physical, like I open my eyes, I see you guys here on the display and in this room, my computer or whatever, some books and something. But but seeing, so the seeing is not that seeing. It's not that physical seeing. It's about, inner. So, so we can start with this observation. That is the inside practice. That is the inner reflection. And through our seeing, we can see that how the 6 sense doors, and even the meditation, even our observation, sometimes we feel irritation too. Like I was maybe contemplating my mind to observing some of my movement, and I like to see my phenomenon rise and falling. Suddenly something happened and someone make a big sound, a big music. I feel irritation during that time. So that is a skill. Like, okay, you observing, that's developing the concentration. You know that you're observing something, you're concentrating to something. So even the outer many noises, it does not afflict it to you. it's like a outer, this noise, like you can say it's like the waves, the example with the wind, ocean, wind and waves.
Yeah.
Outer knowledge, that's like a wind and waves. Like my mind just started judgment, that waves start, it's something like, it's a resultant, like we have a problem. Sometimes we reacted too much. Sometimes maybe we start to, some people, they have some verbally, maybe they speak something else. Sometimes physically they punch someone, it's happening like this. So even inner irritation too, we are mentally sometimes not happy for that. So yeah, we can start, even we can start from nama rupa, you can start from six sense doors, whatever we can take. Maybe we can start from, it depends on that. How do you can, how do you can look at this, and how can you arrange your thought process, your journey, like how can you can be make your journal, how do you start, where should you start, and what is your destination. But at the end, our goal is same. Goal is that freedom. We're looking for stable way, stable liberation. The liberation from that defilement, liberation from that negative thoughts, liberation from freedom from a lot of, it's all the psychological journey. And obviously, we not another thing I like the Buddha's word, he did not deny our physical needs, such as, like, for example, like we have our, since how we have to do a lot of works. We have to work, we have to have a job, we need to make our life stable, we need to be, our feed our stomach, family, our responsibility. But that is the understanding the reality. Real, it's all the balance make this reality, and inner development make the much like a middle way.
As you said, that one-pointedness and the equanimity, that word, and then getting that established. That's if you can, that would be lovely. Thank you, Sanjoy. That's very good. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you very much. So is any more thing then?
Well, actually, Sandra, I want to ask you, in the examples, usually you use the five senses drawer, you use the eye. And I've always had the question that seems like of the five senses we have, the eyes and the ears are the most dominant one. And I really can't think of too many examples for the mouth or the taste or the nose in terms of how that seems like they're not primary, they seems to be secondary.
Well, I think all are primary.
And well, yeah, that I guess in terms of just this, this might be very relevant. But as I'm thinking of the links, that there are certain senses doesn't seem to be quite important. But that just I don't know. That's
yeah, I think all are actually. It depends on the, again, I tell that it depends on the how do you start up, what are you looking for, and you have to set up your goal. You need to work with the one by one, one by one. How do someone start with the seeing, by seeing. Someone start with the noise, somebody start with the body and taste, or touching. So it depends on the how do you the observation start.
I see.
How do you look at slow. It's a slow process. I mean, it is start with the step by step. It's nothing with the hurry up. Obviously, it's a lifetime journey. It's a long time, after long time exercise. Then it can make us more disciplined. So we can do the dependent origination through our even meditation too. When you do the meditation, I think it is the meditation. Somehow, that is the
okay. As you say, moment by moment. So so every moment, then if we're looking for this 12 link, then that can be a starting point depending on whichever moment that I'm looking at.
Yes.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome. So is any more? Any more? I think I can take one more question or something. So that means you all good. You are enlightened. No, no complications. So yeah, I hope that yeah, we are understanding. We grow up together. I think it's a life journey. But yeah, I just whatever I mentioned here, I just bring in this scriptural language into our modern language and try to make sense somehow. But it's our life journey. We need to be work out by ourselves, you know. So I hope that we can make more stable. So we're all good and see you next week. And next week will be the last one. So thank you very much for all of your kind attention. Thank you.
Good. Enjoy.
Thank you, Doctor. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Sanjoy.